Hi, this is Beth Mackinney for FacePaintcom, and today we're going to look at the different black face paints that are available from the different brands and see how they perform. And our first brand is Marin's Paradise. As you can see, it sponges really well. I like Paradise because it has a very comfortable feel on the skin. You get great coverage also, whether you're using a brush, and you can get some nice crisp teardrops, although generally speaking, many people don't use Paradise for line work. But if you load your brush well and really mix the water in, you can still get a really good look with that too. Here we have Kryolan, which is not a brand that I've used very much. As you can see, it gives a little more of a sheer look with the sponge, also with the flat brush, and again with the round brush. But there are times when you may prefer that for what you're doing, especially if you're adding some shading or shadows to superheroes or other types of designs. So there are use for each one of these paints. You just have to decide which one you want for which job. Diamond FX Black is an excellent black when you're trying to get complete coverage with a black. So if you want a very solid area, it will work well for that. Also, it flows really well from the brush, so if you're using it for anything like outlining, it's very popular for that use. Fab is a brand that is newer to me as a painter, but it's one that I've just enjoyed using so much. I love the coverage and the crisp lines, and I especially like their metallics. But you can see here how beautiful the black is as it goes on the skin and how it's very crisp. It's easy to work with, so I really like it. Again, for me as a painter, Mackinney AQ is one of the newer brands that I was not as familiar with. But as you can see, especially with sponge work and a wide brush, goes on very evenly, gives nice coverage. I know a lot of artists like it. I didn't use it very much for line work. I feel like Wolffe or Diamond FX, Chameleon, or Fab flow a little more easily, but it's still a really good paint. Ruby Red gives good coverage, and it also is fairly easy to work with. It is not quite as smudge resistant as some of the paints that I've used, but if you're looking for something that's paraben free and lanolin free, it's a good option for you, and it's also a very mild paint. You don't really have to be concerned when using it on younger children. Wolffe is commonly used by people. It's a well-known paint, so as you can see, great coverage for sponge, brushwork, and always crisp lines when it comes to outlining. So if you're looking for something that is really easy to use and flows off the brush well, Wolffe is a good option for you. While I've used the Grafian airbrushing inks, I have not used their paints very much, so what I discovered was that it creates a fairly sheer look on the skin. It was a little bit clumpy and harder to work with from the brush, and I probably would not choose it for line work, but might be more likely to use it for creating shadows and shading. Global performed very well when it came to sponging and also for brushing and line work. It's a nice solid black, so you can get really good coverage with it, and it's fairly easy to use. It comes off the brush nicely. I also like Global's magenta and their dark blue. When I began face painting, I used Snazaroo because it was very easily available in stores and I could get the larger amounts just like for the other face paints. It gives fairly good coverage, but as you work with it and a lot of water is absorbed into the paint, it can become difficult for line work. Crippling Creamy also performed very well. It gave me very good coverage from the sponge and the brush, and I like the line work as well. So I could recommend it for a lot of different uses, whether you're doing line work. Here you can see I decided to go thin to thick to thin instead of just going thick to thin. It gave me good control over lines. While it wasn't in my main kit, I purchased a small kit of Kryolan Essentials, and I've used it as part of my small portable kit. It's a very versatile paint. It'll give you great coverage. The lines are nice and crisp. I think you'll find it pretty easy to work with, and it seems fairly durable on the skin. Although I have a lot of tag colors in my main kit, I actually don't use it usually for black. But as you can see here, it performs very well. So it's an excellent paint, easy to use, it's wax-based, so it's fairly durable, and it gives pretty good line work too. So it's something that you could consider for any of those uses. Chameleon is another brand that personally I've heard a lot of really good things about. So if you're looking for something that you can sponge easily, that covers well with the brush, and that has crisp edges, Chameleon is a great option for that. While I'm a little newer to Party Explosion, I felt like it worked and responded a lot like Diamond Effects or Wolffe or Chameleon or Global as far as how it came off the sponge or the brush, and it provided really nice crisp lines. So it's something I feel like I can use for outlining. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope as you look at this video, it helps you identify which blacks are best for you to use. As any face painter, I probably use about 4 or 5 different black paints. I have 2 or 3 that I prefer for lining. I have one that I prefer especially for solid areas, and then I usually at least use one pearl black, sometimes to give a little extra shimmer to superhero designs, something like that. So you're going to use several different ones depending on what you like and what you need it for. But the video is designed not necessarily to direct you towards a certain brand, but to help you make an educated decision as you're purchasing face paint. So I hope it helped you today. If you have some comments, please leave them below. And if you'd like to see more videos by FacePaintcom, hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.